to get down with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Friday Nitro Review, episode 5. Sorry for the Christmas break, but we live in other sides of the world and schedules did not connect.
And work. I got a new job, y'all.
I'm medically retired. I don't do these things. Right, but here we are to talk about episode 5, Monday Nitro from 1995, specifically the 10th of October, 1995. Deep into the autumn now. Deep into the schedule. 2nd of October.
Oh, I was about to say, oh man, did we do different shows?
It's the way you Americans write dates. It's the way you Americans write dates. It's backwards.
10/2/95, October 2nd, 1995. That makes sense,
no,
man.
It goes the 2nd of October, 1995.
Yeah, but we say it differently, and that's why. Like, it makes sense.
Look, we invented the language. We invented the calendar.
Hold on.
You should do it the right way.
I agree with you on a lot of things when it comes to y'all did this first and how it should be done. This is one where it's like October 2nd, 1995 sounds correct. It doesn't sound like it's not correct.
The 2nd of October, 1995 sounds fine.
Yours sounds fine too. I'm not saying yours is wrong, but ours isn't wrong either. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right. We'll leave it at that. We will agree to agree. Right, jokes. But we are here to talk about the 2nd of October 1995 episode of Monday Nitro. This was a stacked show, like a super stacked card. This is probably the most stacked card they've done since they started Nitro at this point, out of the 5 weeks it's been on.
Yeah. Because
just to go through the matches quickly before we review them all, you had Macho Man Randy Savage versus Lex Luger. You had the absolute masterclass that was Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero. And then you had the rematch of Arn Anderson versus Ric Flair. All 3 classic matches, more than enough to fill an hour of television, and everything else that happened on the show, with the exception of, well, we'll get to it. we'll get to it. It's a certain red, yellow, and orange thing that appears on a weekly basis. And unfortunately, he's wearing a necklace right now.
I thought it was something else. I'm good.
But first, we start off with the usual beginning. Bischoff, Heenan, and Mongo with his weird rat-like chihuahua sat doing the usual intro to the show, and then out of nowhere, the Nature Boy Ric Flair just bursts into the commentary booth and starts going, "Woo! Arn Anderson, you're going to be mine. I'm going to take you out tonight. You're going to..." Thank you, Rick. I suppose. Just
hyping the main event. That's all I can say. He's hyping the main event.
That's pretty much all it was. And then he disappeared as quick as a flash.
Yeah. I blinked and he was gone.
No, they just rolled on with the show as quick as it was. So Flair did this, picks up him versus Arn for the main event later on the night. And then we go straight into a recap of everything that's happened between Luger and Savage.
And thank you for that.
Yes. Letting the people who haven't tuned in the last few weeks know what has happened in the last few weeks.
Or maybe I just missed
why the match is happening.
Maybe I just missed last week, or maybe I missed the first week, and you're just letting me know, hey, these are the spots you missed.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yes, it's always good. It's nice and fun. Then we go straight into Lex Luger versus Macho Man Randy Savage. This match, while full of star power, Jim, I don't know if you'll agree with me, but it was bloody awful. Even Randy Savage cannot get blood from the stone that is Lex Luger.
It was... I don't think it was bad, but for an opening match with 2 big names like this... Hey, this is why I've always kind of not been a Luger fan. I don't think he's as great as everyone always said he was. But he was over, so I can't really knock him too much.
Oh, no. I mean,
but
you go to after the first couple of seconds, he does the shove into the corner and the pose. Yeah, everyone popped for it.
He's John Cena, just not as fun and charismatic. If we're being honest.
Very no charismatic. Half of John's act was charisma. So
yeah, but if you're looking at what they do in the ring, basically Lex Luger is basically John Cena is just a version 2.0 of that, honestly. But Lex is boring. I feel like if this was maybe the second or third match on the show, I probably wouldn't have. I don't think it'd be critiqued as hard. I think it would just be whatever. But for the first match,
with this match,
go ahead.
Problem with this match was the fact that Lex's career was on the line.
Yeah, like we know it was going to happen.
Which they didn't mention a lot. But they did mention a couple of times.
Before, when the match was starting, they mentioned it, and that's all it takes.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, oh, okay.
No.
He just got here. He ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Like, if you knew anything, if you know anything about how professional wrestling is booked, then you're just like, oh, well, this is going to end in a schmoz. Because they can't have Randy losing, and they can't have Lex losing, because that's his career. So we will protect Randy by having the Giant come down, as he did, spoilers, and kapowing Randy with a chokeslam after Kevin Sullivan attacked Randy Savage dressed as an old woman from out of the crowd. And Bischoff is constantly going, who is it? Who can it be? It's like, Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah, we've been doing that for like 30 years. Who is that person? Even though we all know who it was. Joe Tessitore is the smartest man in the room. He's the only one that's ever been like, that's Drew McIntyre. I will say this about the finish, is kind of bland as the match was. The finish of the match was really intelligent, if we're being honest, because they've been teasing that Luger is with Kevin Sullivan. Even though the is that this match or the next one or last week? Last week when he attacked Luger?
Last week. Yeah.
Okay, so he attacked Luger, but Kevin Sullivan was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, maybe the Giant just lost control. And they're teasing this idea that Luger and we talk about how the bad guys in WWE today are so much smarter because they turned heel for a reason. It's not like they just did it just because. It's like they were driven there. Well, Macho Man was one of the guys that's like, oh, I don't trust you, Luger. And by doing this, it's playing into that. It's really smart. So I love the finish. The match was nothing to write home about. There was a ref bump. Macho, he beat Lex. He hit him, and he had him beat. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It didn't happen because the ref was out. And then Giant comes out, choke slams him. Lex puts Randy in the rack. He's out, so his hands just flop, and so he's out. Like it's a very intelligent finish.
Oh yeah, it was a smart way of doing it.
So I don't want to. I think that supersedes the match itself. I don't.
I'll give you that.
We all remember the finish. So the match did its job to perfection. I liked it. So no complaints here.
No, that was good. After this, we went into what I'm assuming was your favorite moment of the show, Jim, because a wild Disco Inferno appeared. For apparently, I'm assuming, just fill time. They had Disco come out, and Jimmy is doing a fine impression of what Disco did at the time for about a minute and a half. And then he is interrupted by a debuting Eddie Guerrero.
So it's a Nitro debut. So apparently he'd been on Saturday Night.
Yes, he's done Saturday Night. Yeah, he's done WCW Saturday Night. He beat Alex Wright. And now he is wrestling.
So
he is wrestling Dean Malenko, Jim.
So I don't think the Disco thing was to fill time. I think it was because they were talking about how, this ego maniac, he just has to be in the spotlight. I think it might be set up maybe an Eddie Guerrero Disco Inferno match in the future, or maybe even a little possibly. Like, again, this is all uncharted territory for me, so I don't know what happens after these things. I'm watching them in live time. And now that I'm a much smarter wrestling fan, I can see these things and think, okay, that might be leading to this. So maybe that's not just randomness.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it because, again, as crazy as the man is now, I think Disco was a hell of a worker back in the day.
Oh, yeah, as we've discovered, Disco Inferno, great. Glenn Gilberti, ass.
There you go. Terry Bollea, ass. Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, asshole, Hulk Hogan. Great. Right? Just how it works. Well, not if you watch Monday Night Raw this week.
They're booing Terry Bollea, though. They're not booing Hulk
I know. They're not booing Hulk Hogan. They're booing Terry. Or Terry
It just
Bollea.
Sucks that Terry Bollea is always wearing the Hulk Hogan garb, and people can't differentiate the two. Yeah. Like that. I think that's the big issue there. But
no, I'll give you that. But after a while, Disco appears. We went straight into what is arguably, unarguably, should I say, the match of the show.
It's been the best match so far in this Nitro journey.
In the history of Nitro. I mean, previously the best match was Liger versus Brian Pillman from the first show. In my
the
opinion.
The very first match.
But they finally top it with Guerrero versus Malenko.
Yeah.
Landon, bit of a history lesson for you, Jim. These guys have already had a feud in ECW at this point, and a feud in CMLL. they had been wrestling each other for the better part of 5 years, right at this point. So the chemistry and how well they know each other is just there. I mean, their classic of runs in ECW, which ended with a 2 out of 3 falls match where Eddie won on his way out the door when they were both leaving.
I think I've seen that one.
Oh, it's an all-time great, and this was up there. I mean, even God bless Bobby the Brain Heenan, right, for being the only one in commentary who turned around and went, "These boys are doing so many moves, I don't even know what I'm doing," which I thought was amazing. I love Bobby on commentary anyway, even though he hates WCW. But this match, I mean, I've already waxed lyrical about it, but what did you think? I know it's the first time you've seen it, so...
I liked it. I think I really like the ending of this one too, because it leaves it open-ended, and I know, because again, when I tune in '96, almost a year from now, these guys are still wrestling each other fairly regularly, and it never gets boring. This was probably the second best thing about WCW to me, was the cruiserweight division. What they did was incredible, and Eddie Guerrero and Z Malenko were you could say they're two of your top 3 that they had in the division.
They were staples.
Yeah. They were very integral in making that whole cruiserweight division exciting and fun and awesome and everything that you want to say about it. So seeing this as their first match in Nitro, it was a good match. I've seen them have better, clearly. And again, the roll-up victory, again, I like it, because don't give me a definitive...
the O'Connor roll was nice.
Yeah, don't give me a definitive win in it's not a feud, it's a rivalry. This is a rivalry, and sometimes those are going to happen. You're just going to catch the other guy off guard because you know them so well. You know things so it makes sense. It's another smart finish.
Exactly,
and everything that happened in the match was great. So I love it. There was 6 stars in the Tokyo Dome. Good.
Yeah, there was one thing that happened in this match that wasn't very good. And that was the goddamn interruption of this match.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness. I was so pissed.
I was thoroughly sat there enjoying this absolute clinic that I was watching. And Eric Bischoff goes, "Hulk Hogan has arrived at the arena. Hulk Hogan's limo has arrived." And we cut backstage to Jimmy Hart and Hulk Hogan in a neck brace, where Hogan proceeds to talk about how he's going to hunt down the Giant and he's going to break him in half. And Jimmy Hart is begging Hogan to leave the arena because look what he already did to Macho. It's like, how do you know what he did to Macho? You just arrived. You shouldn't even know what he's done to Savage. You weren't here.
I'll be honest. I didn't catch that part because I was just so fuming that they were like, let's go ahead and do this in the midst of this awesome match. Like, what? What?
Made no sense.
That's Hulk Hogan for you in WCW, brother.
Especially when you consider what happens after this match in the Mean Gene segment. Right?
Like, right, so I wouldn't have even cared if they just went to the back and showed Hulk Hogan arriving and that was the quick clip. That would have been fine. To go into any kind of dialogue made no sense when directly after we get the Mean Gene interview with Hulk Hogan at Jimmy Hart.
And Hogan says the exact same stuff that he said in the backstage promo, except now he's saying it in front of the crowd about how he's going to hunt down Giant, and then the man looks fully ridiculous in full gear with the neck brace on. He could have at least sold it a little bit, and then he pulls the t-shirt off and says he's going to find the Giant backstage and absolutely destroy him. And spoilers, we never hear from him again for the rest of the night. They don't follow up on this.
Wait, didn't the old lady attack Hogan?
No, the old lady
she didn't attack Macho Man. I thought she attacked Hogan here.
Oh wait, no, she attacked Hogan.
Right. Yeah, sorry folks, we watched this last week. We put the show, but yeah, because he was leaving, and then she attacked him with a cane.
Yeah,
and then out came the Giant and Zodiac, and they just obliterated.
Sorry,
and
I've got my weeks mixed up here.
Yeah, and then snapped his neck again.
We were supposed to do this episode last week, but real life got in the way, and now we're doing it this week. So
yeah, I was like, I don't remember her attacking Macho Man, but yeah, it was the ref bump that allowed Giant to come out, and then this was the old lady attacked him. And man, the old lady was attacking him for a good minute before we found out who it was, which was hilarious. Kevin Sullivan is a comic genius, everybody.
Yes. Kevin Sullivan's amazing because you had Bischoff completely dumbfounded on commentary. Who is this? who is this old lady that's come out of the crowd that's attacking the world heavyweight champion? And then they did the greatest thing that I have ever seen done to Hulk Hogan. They shaved his fucking mustache off. And they cut what was little part of his hair. My brother made a very good point while we were rewatching this the other day. It is some of the best wrestling shaving I've ever seen. I know that's a really weird comment to make, but usually when you see someone get their head shaved or their beard shaved off or something wrestling, they do a really scraggly job.
Yeah. They're just like
Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah. Like there's no rhyme or reason.
We're taking this whole sumbitch off.
Yeah. Like y'all have never cut hair before in your life.
No, not in the slightest. Yeah. But he shaved all of it off down to a Hitler stash, which I thought you should have left him with.
I thought that's what they were doing at first. I was like, that is brilliant. That is kind of dark, but that is brilliant.
Brilliant. Because he basically is the Hitler of wrestling. All right, he sacrificed everybody else to get where he was in the company. So
I think what really helped drive home why this segment was so funny to me was Kevin Sullivan, when he's yelling, it sounds like this. So he sounds like an old lady as he's dressed as an old lady, beating Hulk Hogan with a cane. I'm like, this visual is amazing. Just keep it going. Give me 30 minutes of just Kevin Sullivan dressed as an old lady beating Hulk Hogan with a cane while screaming at him. And I'm a happy man.
Yeah, but the Giant comes out, rips off the neck brace, hits him with the neck snap again, which was amazing. Hogan does the worst sell job I've ever seen in my life, flip-flopping all over the mat, holding his neck.
You got me, brother.
Well, you wouldn't be able to move if he had Hulk, so at least try and sell it properly. But after this, we go out with Rex. Yeah, my writing is awful. Yeah, Hogan gets beat down.
Oh, the American males come out. They get taken out. And then the Nasty Boys come out, which is funny because the American males were supposed to take on the Nasty Boys in a tag team title match. They both end up coming out and getting absolutely destroyed by the Giant. And then they leave.
And I've got to say, it's funny watching the Nasty Boys show because all they do is follow Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
They're like Ed Leslie. Wherever Hogan goes, those three men will follow.
Or like Zodiac.
Ed. I'm not doing it. He's had too many damn gimmicks, Jim. Right? He's had 15 gimmicks. 15
I wish they would have shaved his mustache with some clippers, man. That would have fucking sent me over the edge.
That would have been
hilarious.
That
would have sent me over the edge.
Oh, if only they'd cut his hair with shears. If we could turn back time. That would have been
why I should have a job.
Agreed. And then we had my favorite part of the show. Now, you probably haven't got this in your notes, but I have.
Yeah, probably.
We have the commercial for My Samurai.
No, I don't have that in my notes.
Oh, I do.
Is My Samurai.
Because My Samurai is one of, if you get the chance to watch it, Jim, you will never laugh more than you laugh at this show in your life. This is a show about an American man who is trained by a Japanese man in America to become a samurai and then proceeds to kill dozens of people, right? On a quest of revenge and justice. It is terrible, but it is so bad, it is brilliant.
It's a movie or a show?
It's a show.
So I got My Samurai, the movie.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's a movie. It's been a very long time. Either way.
But then, is that a show? I'm going to look to see if there's a show.
It is my favorite part of this week's Nitro because it's nostalgia in a bottle. It's one of those things that you forget existed, and then you see it, and you go, oh my God, how did that happen? It's from the Knight Rider era, so you can imagine the level of kitsch that goes on in this show. It's fantastic. But that's enough about My Samurai. Back to the wrestling. It's not what you tune in for, folks. All right, we then went on to match 3. Now, match 3 was a rematch from Fall Brawl 2 weeks prior, which is the Nature Boy Ric Flair versus the Enforcer Arn Anderson. This match was good, as expected. Flair, at this point in his career, doesn't put a foot wrong. He puts on Ric Flair matches, but Ric Flair matches are very entertaining matches, especially when he has the right dance partner. And Arn Anderson is undoubtedly one of the best dance partners Ric Flair could ever ask for. Arn, thoroughly underrated worker over the years, just great in the ring. He's got a real gritty style that makes you feel what he's doing. And he partners up against Rick really, really well. This was your classic Flair match. Chop, chop, backdrop, figure 4, thrown off the top rope, rocket launch, back, forth, figure 4, out to the outside, walk and brawl, strut, figure 4. Flying Brian Pillman appears, schmaltz finish, and Flair gets beaten down. I was fine with this finish because, as I said, this is the ascent, or at least the beginning of what was supposed to be the ascent of Brian Pillman in WCW, which is stymied by a certain red and yellow human being as time goes on, because he doesn't work for me, brother. It's a long story, but Brian Pillman was supposed to get a world title shot against Hogan before 1996, and Hogan didn't want to do business with
I'm not going to make no money with him.
Basically.
Yeah, I can see that being his line.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous because Brian Pillman is super over at this point. He
would have made Hogan look great.
Yeah, like gold. Like Brian had the unique ability as a wrestler to, you could give him a mop and he would make that mop look better.
He's a great bumper.
Yeah. He's a tremendous bumper. Tremendous seller, and he's a good storyteller. And those are three skills that a professional wrestler needs, in my opinion, to get over. And Brian had them in spades. Yeah. But this match is relatively short. Yeah. I think it's about 8 minutes.
I'll find out with our trusty cage match. But
I think
I liked the match. It was good. I'm becoming a fan of Arn Anderson watching Nitro because I didn't have much knowledge of him before. I'd
exposure
seen things here. I haven't seen much of him. But now that I'm seeing more of him, I like Arn Anderson. I think he's really good, and I think he fit the time really well with his style of wrestling and promos and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily like this finish because we saw Brian Pillman get involved in the first match at Fall Brawl.
Yes.
And that allowed Arn Anderson to win. And then the aftermath of this was the announcement that we're getting Ric Flair versus Arn Anderson next week in the steel cage match. So it's like, if you're going to go that route, and we've already had Smaz finishes in the show, like the first show ended in this kind of finish. And whereas even though there was a winner in that one, we still had a distraction or interference that caused the outcome of the match. I don't want to see your opener and your closer do the exact same thing.
I would agree.
Especially in an hour show, because you don't even have time to forget what happens.
You're doubling down when you shouldn't be.
If you're going to go ahead and go with the Arn Anderson Ric Flair cage match next week, maybe have Ric Flair beat Arn Anderson in a roll-up, which would kind of suck because Eddie and Dean did that finish. But at least Arn caught, and then have Pillman attack Flair because he was late. He wasn't there. Or have Arn win again. Have Pillman help Arn win again. And then it gets to the point where Rick's like, you can't beat me one-on-one. Woo! So you have the cage match. Like, I think there was better options here. And this is being an analyst because that's what we're doing with the reviews. I'm being more of an analyzer as opposed to just being a fan of things. So I like the show. Yes. As far as my grade for this show, I'm giving it an A. I think this should be the standard for Nitro. Yeah. If you're this good, I'm happy. I was entertained from beginning to finish. But if I'm going to analyze it, that would be my biggest gripe of the whole show is like, if you're going to do Arn and Flair next week in a cage, give me a reason to get there. A DQ finish after we already saw what should have been a DQ finish in the beginning is like, come on, that's lazy. That feels a little lazy.
No, it is. It is a bit lazy booking. But Dusty wasn't there at this point. And it shows. But he will be back. God. But that was the show. We went to an advert break after this, and they went for an advert for next week's show. Would you like to hear some of the matches that we have for next week's show, Jimmy?
Real quick, I want to point out, in the dark matches this week, we had Brian Pillman versus Disco Inferno.
Okay.
Jim Duggan and the Renegade versus the Dungeon of Doom, Ming and the Shark. And then Diamond Dallas Page, the World Television Champion, put it on a World Television title match in a dark match, not on television,
not on TV again.
Das Wonder Kid, Alex Wright. Why is that not on TV?
Why is that not on this TV? That makes me a little son of a butt. That makes me kind of annoyed, but That's really annoying. But as I said, for some reason, during this entire run, DDP never defends the title on TV until he loses it.
That's so stupid.
It's very dumb. I think he loses it to Regal, possibly. I could be wrong, but I think he loses it to Regal. And that match is on television. But before that, it's not. It's really, really weird. But after this, we went to an advert, as I say, for next week's Nitro, where we will have Sting versus the Shark. We will have...
Work your magic, Sting.
The match that I'm really looking forward to, Jim. Sabu versus Jerry Lynn, or as he was known by the creative geniuses at WCW, Mr. JL.
I was just about to say, we have not seen Sabu since second week. Like, what happened to him? But now here he is. Okay. That's cool. That should be fun. That should be fun.
And Big Bubba Rogers versus somebody else. Because my pen ran out of ink before I could finish writing it down.
And then Flair versus Arn in the cage.
And Flair versus Arn in the cage.
Let me see.
So we got 4 matches.
That'd be October 9th.
Yes.
So it is going to be, don't give me the results, just give me the match. Let me type in one more thing. I don't want to see the results.
No, because that's spoilers.
Yeah.
For a 30-year-old product.
I hate spoilers so much.
I can't stop them.
Additional match Nitro number 11. I'm gonna have to see it this way. Big Bubba versus Road Warrior Hawk.
There we go. Which should be interesting because I think Animal was on injury at this point. Or
and Diamond Dallas Page. Diamond Dallas Page has another dark match defending his TV title against Das Wonder Kid, Alex Wright. And Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko in a dark match. What the?
Why?
And Taskmaster and Randy Savage in a dark. What are we doing here?
And do you know what they're doing here? They're panicking that they need a second hour, Jim.
Like these matches weren't even taping. This wasn't even taping, was it? This was just nobody else gets to see it.
Live.
Wow, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit right there. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
But
sorry, we're not monetized. But that was the show, ladies and gents. That was WCW Monday Nitro, October the 2nd, 1995. Jim has given it an A. Yeah. I should give it a B+, because Hogan dragged it down a bit for me. I cannot wait at this point for June 27th or whenever it is in 1996 when Bash at the Beach goes down. I cannot wait to see the end of the red and yellow Hulk Hogan. I cannot wait to see black and white Hollywood finally appear and be good. Because no, this is gonna be good. But
I like ripping on the guy though, so I don't mind it being red and yellow.
This is true. This is true. It's fun to take this pick.
Man, we're still 4 weeks away from Halloween Havoc.
I know, and this is a good Halloween Havoc as well.
I'm not going to look at the card because I don't want to be spoiled about what happens over the next coming weeks. I just wanted to look up the date. It's October 29th, so we have 9th, we have 16th, and then we have the 23rd. So yeah, man, we have 3 more Nitros before Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Right,
but ladies and gents, that was the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Love you all. If you do like what we do here in the Friday Night Reviews, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, do all that good stuff. It's free. It's the only way the YouTube algorithm really knows we exist. So, in the meantime, always remember, we are but 2 geeks obsessed with a good show, and our opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below. See you next week.
Toodles.